Regal did another mystery movie. Let's talk about it. Hi there, my name is Jonathan, and this is my trash heap. Today we're going to be talking about Regal's new mystery movie that they did for March 20th, and it was a lot better than the last one they did because I did not like the last one they did at all. Looking at you, Woody Harrelson. This time they decided to do the movie Paint, which is a new Owen Wilson movie where he plays a parody version of Bob Ross named Carl Nargle. And it was really good. It was a lot better than it should have been. So let's talk about it. Starting out with the good of this movie, and there is a lot of good to talk about in this movie. First of all, the theme, or the vibe of the movie, I should say. We'll get into the themes of the movie later. The vibe of the movie is excellent. It is this... It's a comedy. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it also does have good themes in it, so I like the themes and the vibes. What I mean by that with the vibes and the comedy is it's the type of comedy that just works for me. It's a lot of dry humor. It's a lot of not like we're trying to make you laugh, but we're going to do something that's just kind of dumb and funny, and that to me is just amazing. There's this one part near the end where they're showing this clip of Carl Nargle on a different, they're doing a different TV show and they're showing his show on that show, and they have like a TV lifting out of like a cabinet thing where they had it in because they were shooting this scene. And it takes like 25 seconds for the TV to come all the way out. There's just this uncomfortable silence. There's no music. There's just the of the TV going up. And that just, I don't know what it was about that, but that was just hilarious to me. I'm not going to, go too in depth into many of the jokes because obviously I don't want to give everything away. But the humor is just the perfect type of humor for me. It's the perfect amount of comedy and the perfect types of that comedy. They don't go overboard, except with one thing that we'll get into when we get to the bad part of this. But it is a very, very funny movie, significantly funnier than the last mystery movie, which was Champions, which I'm not going to do a review on, because it would just be me trashing it for 15 minutes, and that nobody needs that. But this movie is very funny, and it's a very dry humor. Now, there is some just straight up, there's a bit of slapstick, a bit of just on the nose jokes, but that to me is still very funny. And when they do it well, and it fits within what's happening in the movie, so it doesn't feel it doesn't feel out of place. And moving on to more of the themes of the movie itself, as opposed to just the vibe of the movie, there's a lot of really interesting talking points, because the movie starts out, and we're getting into spoiler territory here, so if you don't really want the plot of the movie spoiled, I'd say click off around here, because for the rest of this, we're going to kind of just go all in with the spoilers. The movie starts out where they're asking Carl Nargle, I almost called him Bob Ross, they're asking Owen Wilson's character Carl Nargle to, he does a 1 hour slot for his show. They want him to do a 2 hour slot. They want him to paint 2 paintings, one each hour. And he says, I don't want to do that because it'll take away from the allure of my paintings. It'll start to feel less special. It'll be a mass producing type thing. I don't really want to do that because that makes painting less special. And I think that was a really interesting point to open on, because as the movie goes on, we can see, and it's not subtle with how they tell it, but one of the key plot points of the movie as it goes on is that he's painting this same mountain over and over and over and over and over again to try and get in a museum, because the museum wanted a painting of that mountain. And so he just kept painting it over and over and over again on his show to try and get on, or try and get into the museum. And he realizes that it's not special. I've been painting the same thing for 19 years. And this thing that I said earlier, I'm I don't want to make, 2 of these things, in the 2 hour time span, the 1 hour and then the next hour. I don't want to make 2 of them because it'll feel less special, when that's really what I've been doing for the last 19 years. And I don't know. as someone who likes art and is majoring in art history, I think that like a movie that does talk about themes like that is interesting, because there's not a whole lot of that, at least from what I've seen, because a lot of people just don't really care about the ins and outs of art. I can recognize that. I really enjoyed this movie touching on it and doing it in a clever way that works within the story. Last key point of good is Owen Wilson is very, very good in this movie. He does the Carl Nargle, Bob Ross very, very well. He's very funny. His voice is very nice. He whispers for most of the movie like this, and he nails it. I don't have a complaint about him, and like the ensemble cast is fine. All the the rest of the people are good, but Owen Wilson absolutely steals the show. There's never a scene where he's on screen and there's somebody else. I'm always paying attention to Wilson. He is the best part of this movie far and away. So that's the good. And as for the bad of this movie, which I do not think that there is very much of. Again, I really, really liked this movie. I only have 2 main points. 2 times 2 is 4. I only have 2 main points about this, and they aren't even that major. They're not enough to make me dislike the movie. There's a little too much sex humor, which is kind of weird for a movie like this. I didn't really expect them to take that type of turn. Like, it's never, like, uncomfortable, but it is... some of it is very well done, and some of it is just people having sex, and it's a little weird and sort of out of place at times, and it kind of felt like when I say that there was a little bit of humor that didn't work, and that's what I'm talking about. It's a little bit out of place, and I didn't always vibe with it, but it's not anywhere near enough to make me dislike the movie. And the second point is it could be a little bit shorter in theory. I don't think it needs to be. It doesn't drag. But there are a couple parts that even sitting here thinking about it, I'm like, if they ended the movie here, I would have been fine with it. I'm glad they didn't, but it could in theory be a bit shorter, but it does not need to be, and it does not suffer as a result of that. But other than that, that's all the bad in this movie, to me at least. On a broader scale of bad, it is a more niche movie, because like I said earlier, the good that I like about it when you're talking about these themes of art and all that, not everybody cares. So if you aren't super duper interested in themes about art and legacy and mass production and how art and the artist combine and collide, you might not love this movie, but to me, it was very, very good. So broader scale bad, to me, not bad. So overall, Paint is a excellent movie. It is a great theater experience. I was in a pretty packed theater because the mystery movies are always pretty crowded, and there were people laughing. There was a couple of obnoxious people laughing, but there were people laughing. They enjoyed it. It was this really good experience. I really liked it. Again, if you're not super into art and like themes and theories of art, you may not love it. But if you aren't, I would recommend going to see this movie as just kind of a heartwarming rom-com, which it kind of is to an extent, but this movie is excellent. My score is a 9.5 out of 10. But that's just my thoughts on the movie. Let me know what you think if you saw it early during the mystery movie. Let me know what you think down in the comments if you're watching this later after it's released wide. Also, let me know what you think down in the comments. Follow me on Instagram, Jonathan's Trash Heaps, same as my YouTube channel, and I will see you guys in the next one.